Hi, America, found my phone and welcome to another video. Today we are getting back into Madonna. Y'all loved my American Life music video reaction as well as Confessions on the Dance Floor. And I was like, okay, let's go back to American Life music video and thinking about the themes of that, thinking, well, then what's the album gonna be like? And so I think I mentioned before, but I really wanted to get into this album probably before I get to more albums of the discography. Please let me know if there's other albums of hers that you want me to check out, music videos as well. I tend to go for albums because I do like listening to music, and it's also easier to not get claimed with an album versus a music video because visual claims are really hard to deal with. For some reason, the song part on American Life made it sound like it was a cover song to YouTube Content ID. So right now, we're getting shared revenue on that, because apparently I covered Madonna's American Life. I don't know what y'all think about that, but it's an interesting thing to think about. But I think this is definitely going to be a really interesting album to get into. Definitely would want to check out more stuff from this era as well. I know that she was basically banned from the radio during this time because of the political turmoil and tension that was at the time, and how no one wanted to be critical of the US government for fear. And now it's time that we can totally be critical of the US government. So I'm ready to get started. Thank you for requesting this video, but anyway, let's get into it. Track number 1 is American Life, the title track, the only song on here that I have heard before and I enjoyed, but let's hear it again to get ourselves reacquainted with what the project might entail. I tried to be a boy, I tried to be a girl. It's always been the same. I like the guitar coming in slowly in this. I didn't realize it kind of moved in. You are not just a dream. It goes through my body and you know I'm satisfied. You think I'm satisfied? Just living out the American dream, and I just realized that nothing is as it seems. I didn't realize that some of those noises are actually in the song itself. I just thought of it from the music video. So that was American Life, and I think I talked at length about my thoughts about the song and the music video and how she's living out the American dream, but she's figuring out that nothing's as it seems. I feel like it's a very unique perspective to have in that situation. I feel like we commonly hear about, oh, the American dream doesn't work for people, and it doesn't for many people. Madonna is clearly an exception that, for her, it worked. She was someone just from the Midwest who then moved to New York and got to live out her dream of being a pop superstar. And I think she's reflecting on the fact that, like, for her, she has this abundance and wealth, but she's realizing that not everyone does. It feels like it goes into How High from Confessions on the Dance Floor, which was her next release. I don't want to spoil too much because I would like you guys to watch that video, even though I'm sharing revenue right now with it. But I feel like I did it a lot more eloquently, and I think I have a lot of political stress to release on that. There's certain things I think here that she gets right, and there's certain things that I don't think I talk about much, but I don't think she's quite fully great on just being someone of her status and wealth. And, you know, for her to comment on the American dream, it's a nice, unique perspective to have, but it shouldn't be a perspective that's centered in the discussion about whether our economy works for all people. Track number 2 is Hollywood. Oh, we're continuing acoustic vibes. Oh, this feels very early 2000s. This time it's got to be good. Ooh, that was an interesting synth. The sun is shining like you knew it would. They want to make it in the neighborhood. How could it hurt you when it looks so good? I've lost my reputation bad and good. Check it out. Did we just change key? Oh, I like the sonic changes. Push the button, don't push the button. Push the button, don't push the button. What was she vocaling modulation? Her voice down? So that was Hollywood. That felt very early 2000s. Very like acoustic synth pop. I know that acoustic and synth don't necessarily go together, but I feel like American Life, the title track, did both also. I really like the sonic choices that were made towards the end of it. The push the button, don't push the button, change it to, I don't know what was going on there. And then also just like, I think it changed keys, and there's certain instrumental shifts that I liked. I felt like the vocals and like the lyrics were very repetitive. I like us critiquing Hollywood and that you don't really know what's right and wrong because it's just a different world. But to me, it doesn't feel like a important song in our understanding of LA or Hollywood at all. As we know from Madonna's next project, she loves New York. She doesn't really care about LA. So for her to sing this song feels a little disingenuous because she's really not a Hollywood person. She's probably visited once or twice, but she definitely is a New York girly. I just didn't get into this one nearly as much. I felt like it was just more chill and very acoustic. I don't know. It felt like a song that could play in early 2000s Radio Disney that I just like wouldn't think about and not remember any of the lyrics to, even though they're very easy to remember. Track number 3, I'm So Stupid, a song my ex liked to sing. That's 100% a joke. My ex didn't like music. I used to live in a fuzzy dream. Oh, I like this percussive beat coming in. I need to be like all the pretty people. Oh, sounded like a glitch. I thought I broke my speaker. I'm so stupid because I used to live in that fuzzy dream. Okay. Vibes. Stupidly stupid. It was just greed. Don't tempt me. Everybody's looking for something. Everyone's stupid. So that was I'm So Stupid. And that was interesting. I liked the glitch moment. I liked the percussive moments. It was a groovy type track and also not something I thought the Queen of Pop would make. It feels like it's vaguely 2000s pop, but it also feels like a little more alternative, almost a little rock in how she sings. A little bit. It has a little more punk to it. So that was a treat. Lyrically, I think the song has some lyrics that are a little excessive about stupidly stupid, stupider than stupid, all of that type of stuff. It's a little on the nose. But I think what she's getting at is that everyone is looking for something and that makes everyone stupid and that they keep looking for more. They're greedy. She's saying she has this greed and then it won't protect her. That greed is not going to solve your problems. I guess being satisfied with where you're at is that. And I guess that relates to her notion of being a celebrity. Will it get me far to change my name and lose some weight to be a star? She's realizing that there was a little bit of greed to get to where she was, and that there is sometimes greed to even want more than what you already have, even when you have, well, more than enough. All the billionaires in the world, take note now. This song's not really for people who are poor or being discriminated against or have like a need to change their life and a reasonable reason to try to hope for better and work towards better in their life. I think Madonna's not really addressing that. I think she's addressing more of what she's been dealing with. And that also the people that she's surrounded by in Hollywood or New York, all these people who have all of these privileges that they should realize that they have, they should really focus on what they have versus what they don't have. It makes you a much happier person to realize all the things you have. Like I realized I had brownie mix in my pantry, and that made me so excited. Track number 4 is Love Profusion. There are too many questions. Oh, you keep glitching it up. I've lost my illusions. I got you under my skin. There's no comprehension, there's real isolation. Got you under my skin. So that was Love Profusion, and that was a really vibey track. That felt the most Confessions of everything we've heard so far. The most easy, breezy listen, and a little bit glitchy too. It made me want to dance to it a little bit. I guess Hollywood also had an easy listening to it, but this one captured my attention a little more. And so I think that's probably the reason why I went for it more. For anyone who doesn't know, I looked it up because I just wanted to make sure, which I realized I didn't know the word at all. Profusion means an abundance or large quantity of something. So she's saying that with all this sadness and destruction that she's seeing in the world, that she is comforted and she's uplifted and she gets out of her bad mood with this person who has love profusion. I don't know if it's a person in particular or if it's just the general amount of love that she sees in the world or that she receives. It's one of those, it's either the world or it's her fans or it's a person. I think that's where she's finding comfort. It feels like an earlier version of Miss Americana and the Heartbreak Prince from Taylor. I like the glitch moments, but it also is just like a chill, almost throwback type track. I do vibe with it. Is it my favorite from the album so far? I don't know. It kind of like fits the vibes of Confessions more, which I feel like is going to be more sonically my choice. I feel like I understand what she's getting at, or I at least appreciate what she's doing here, both politically and sonically, and making almost so far like an alt pop record. It doesn't feel like it's something that would get a mainstream appeal. It feels like not only was it taken off of radio because of the political messaging, but also because the music might not be what the common person wants to hear. But I do enjoy hearing it, so I'm glad I'm listening to it now. Track number 5 is Nobody Knows Me. Ooh, little techno. Auto-tune Madonna. Have you realized how many times I've died? Oh. No one's telling you how to live your life? I sleep much better at night. I'm gonna try to improve my life. It's a setup until you're fed up. Nobody knows me like you know me, so it's a little Miss Americana and the Heartbreak Prince again. What is that noise? Yeah, like what is she doing there? I don't watch TV. So that was Nobody Knows Me. And I feel like that song is pretty straightforward. Nobody knows me like you know me. So it's a general thing of like, I'm not gonna care about the he said, she said and what they tell about me in the news. Obviously, as a woman in the industry, pioneering the pop industry really, she's going to get a lot of hate and she's gonna get a lot of praise. She's gonna get a lot. That will generally only come from someone who only knows a fraction of her. Whether that's someone who hates her or loves her, they only know part of her because they don't know her life. They're not following her all the time. I mean, they might be trying to, but she doesn't think that they know her. And I would say we generally don't know celebrities. We don't know what's going on every single day of their lives. If we did, that'd be a lot, I'm sure, for them because we don't know what's going on in every single person's life at all times. That just is something that we don't do. The era of vlog channels is pretty much over. And when I mean that, I mean like the daily vlogs. Gosh, I'm kind of glad. I felt like I had to keep up with people daily. No, I don't have to do that at all. She's saying, I don't watch TV. I think it's really like kind of a mix of Call It What You Want and Lavender Haze, both from Taylor. Obviously, as a Swiftie, I will always reference her often. But I feel like they have similar sentiments because especially in Taylor Swift's second half of her career, she's been very much focused on how life is in part due to her reputation and how she is perceived by the media and how, as this giant celebrity, how that affects her life. Because that's going to affect your life in a profound way that's probably interesting to write about. I know commercially, generally speaking, it doesn't do that well. Who am I to really stop an artist from making an album that I will probably really like? Because I love hearing about it, but the general populace and critics don't normally. Also, Speak Now, Taylor's version comes out July 7th. But my guess is that Madonna is similarly inspired by her image to write songs. I mean, at this point, she's over 20 years into the industry, and Taylor's just writing it after about 10. So I feel like Madonna definitely gets a pass to start writing about that 20 years down the line. I have no idea if she had done it much before. She might have. It's definitely possible. But I think here, she's making her low-key the middle finger album that she wants to make. And honestly, absolutely fair. And I think this song really works within that. It works within the canon of you're a big superstar and nobody knows you except for yourself and potentially your partner. Track number 6 is Nothing Fails. More acoustic. Oh, but now we're getting into the 2000s R&B vibes. What is it with you, you silly thing? You could take it away and I still have it all. Nothing fails, you wash away my tears. I'm not religious, but I feel so moved. Ooh, getting those little synths in there. She's not a Christian or a Jew. Oh, choir coming in. So that was Nothing Fails, and that sounded so lovely. I think it's either a love song towards a partner or even maybe a child. I think she's a mother at this point. Yeah, I think that is probably the case. I don't remember. Is this one of the times where she's married or engaged or something? I know she's had numerous relationships throughout her life. As anyone who's still not married at the age of 64 might have had. That's not me judging her. You live your life, girl. Like, honestly, you're crushing it. This seems like a love song. To me, the tone of it generally is towards like a child. Like, please never leave. I hope that I'm never without you, as if like, you know, you never want your kid to go before you. Yeah, I feel like it's this religious experience probably to have a child. I have not had one, but it seems like it is. I understand that a relationship can also feel like a religious experience. And I think the wiping away my tears, if it's them actively doing that, I assume it's probably their partner doing that rather than their child coming up to them and being like, let me wipe away your tears. But if it's like making you not want to cry because you want to make sure you're taking care of your child, then I understand what that is metaphorically. They're wiping away your tears. I don't know which it is. Either way, it's a pretty song. I probably don't care for it that much, honestly, because of the fact of the I'm not religious part that just goes on for a really long time. I love the choir bit. It's good, but it happens like in the middle of the song for like a solid 2 minutes, and then we get back to this Nothing Fails chorus. I felt like if it was like the last 2 minutes of it, it could have been a better vibe, but the flow is weird for me. I like that we're still having those beats. We're getting a motif throughout the record, and I think that's cool to tie everything together. I feel like this album so far, I didn't think it was going to be this way, but I'm surprised how sonically cohesive it is. I feel like it's difficult after hearing the title track for it to somehow seem cohesive, to have some elements of techno, have some elements of acoustic, still be pop-ish. Yeah, it's an interesting experience I'm having for sure. I don't know how much I'm going to replay this record. We're only halfway through, though. So we'll see. Maybe the back half is like completely different. Maybe there's a side A, side B that I don't know about. But as for Nothing Fails, it's a nice song. It's a cute little number. Is it for me? Track number 7 is Intervention. I'm intrigued by that title. Oh, it's acoustic again? I got to see my baby. Got to teach him how to fly. Is this a literal baby or a significant other? I want to save his life. Love will change us forever. Got a little groove in it. That's just Satan's game. From now on, it's a brand new day. Oh, we switched it up. So that was Intervention, and that was an acoustic type cut. There was a little bit of non-acoustic in there, but generally acoustic cut that was like a little more of a deep track that would never be a single, but I really enjoyed it. It was a vibe. This song is definitely about a child. She says my baby twice, and I think that's the only times that she refers to them. Yeah, I think it's only referring to my baby. And I don't think it's about a partner. I think this one's about motherhood. She's saying, I want to teach them to fly, and then I have to teach them to come back down so that they don't fly too high and get too close to the sun and burn and fall and crash and all that stuff. Yeah, teaching them about life in a way that I feel like you just don't do with a partner. I feel like you and your partner should teach each other things, but I don't think it's in that way. It is a very sweet song, not necessarily one I relate to, but I do like it. I think it's a sweet sentiment of love will change us forever, but love is also going to keep us together. And I think that's how families that have chosen to stay together, they do it out of love, whether they have a very positive time or a negative time. There's some sort of love that's binding them from leaving each other. I like it. It is a very sweet song. I think I like it more than Nothing Fails. It just is kind of a vibe. This one flows a lot better. And I don't know. Is it going to be my favorite on the record? Probably not. But it is a chill vibe that I can get behind. Track number 8 is Ecstatic Process. What kind of Elon and Grimes baby name is that? Not myself when you're around. Not myself when you're around? I'm not myself and I don't know how. Jesus Christ, will you look at me? Jesus Christ will look at me? Okay. But you're not Christian. There's the other voice here. I can't tell if she's harmonizing with herself or there's someone else I don't know. I forgot in the process that I was special too. So that was Ecstatic Process. And I didn't expect that one to be an acoustic number. I thought it was gonna be more like American Life, where it was like a little bit like hard hitting and a little more but it's not. It is about not knowing who you are when you're around this person. Seems like there was a relationship there and that relationship ended and she's been looking for someone like them, but in that process she's forgotten that she is also special and worthy of love, that she doesn't need to be chasing after someone, but also that someone should be chasing after her in the same way. She realized that she's also as talented and as special and beautiful as this person that she's idolized and put on this pedestal. She's also should be on that pedestal too. It's a chill acoustic number. I don't know. It just like is a little campfire-y song. I want to like make some tea right now. And I thought I would not get that vibe from any song on this album. I thought about doing a more acoustic record tonight if I wanted to do that, but I was like, oh, I don't really need to make any more tea tonight. But this song really kind of calls for it. So we'll think about that for the next time I listen to this album. But remember, folks, don't get lost in a partner. Remember your sense of self. Remember that you're still cool and hot and sexy and wonderful and talented and smart and brilliant and funny outside of your partner. Don't change for your partner. If you change naturally as part of the process, that's okay. But don't lose your sense of self. Still be your own person. Much love, and I can't wait to see who you become. Track number 9 is Mother and Father. I can relate to one half of that. Oh, now we're back to techno after taking an acoustic moment. There was a time I was happy in my life. Where'd that go? A lot of Jesus references here for someone who says she's not a Christian. Oh, switch it up. No one else could hurt me like you did. I was just a kid. Is this about familial abuse? No one else saw the things you could see. I gotta give it up and find someone who loves me. There was a time I had a mother. It was nice. What happened to her? Her mother died when she was 5. He became a shadow of the father she was dreaming of. Oh, spooky. It's getting glitchy as heck. Is that a transition? Not sure. So that was Mother and Father, and I didn't realize we were gonna learn about Madonna's mom passing away when she was 5. Gosh, I'm so sorry to hear that. And then how her relationship with her father became strained because he still had to go to work to, feed her and the family. I think I just saw that she had a brother, so she has at least one other sibling. So he had to take care of them. So he also was heartbroken because, the love of his life passed away. So yeah, that would ruin a person, that can ruin a person. And I'm sure it made that relationship more tense. And I think I saw when I looked it up, I didn't want to look up the lyrics because I'm trying to do that less now. But I did look up just to see her father. Her father is still alive. He's 91. Good for him. That's a high age. Madonna's still making music in her 60s, so good on her for that as well. Yeah, that's cool as you get to like a retirement-ish age. Not saying that Madonna needs to retire or anything, but just that she's at that age where she's made music for her life. That's a career in the same way that most people do a career for 40 years. She's been making music for 40 years. Wild. She's been doing that like for out her whole life, and she still has a parent around. That's cool. I don't know what the relationship is like now. I mean, it's been 20 years since this album came out. So who knows how she feels about it right now. Maybe it changed last week. I know certain family relationships within my family are very volatile. So they can change at certain times very randomly or just spawned by some very distinct things. I think this also gives a little bit more of an idea towards the album title. So the album title is not necessarily all political about American life, but it is talking about different things happening in the world. Whereas like this is the American dream, and also music videos obviously a lot about the war, but nothing else is really about the war. There's tabloid stuff with Nobody Knows Me. And then there's falling in love. That's something that definitely happens. Hollywood, having children, having parents that have complex circumstances. Very American of her to talk about all of those things. And definitely, she's talking very personally on this, and I appreciate her vulnerability. I wouldn't be talking about something like that probably in that much blunt detail on a pop song. So I'm proud of her for that. Track number 10 is Die Another Day. It has the most streams on Spotify, so is it the best one from here? Ooh, ominous. Ooh, sounds like horse clopping through a castle. I'm gonna keep the secret. Oh, this is a perfect 2000s remix vibe. I guess I'll die another day. Sigmund Freud. Analyzes Sigmund Freud. I'm gonna break the cycle. I'm gonna destroy my ego. Huh? It's not my time to go. Time to work and time to play. I'm gonna avoid the cliche. I'm gonna close my body now. Ooh, she's getting auto-tuned heavily. Till she booms. Oh, we weren't done. We were having an outro. So that was Die Another Day. This is the bop. This is the best song in the album. Well, I don't know about Easy Ride. But Die Another Day? Yeah, no, this is the bop. This is the bop that is like, this could have gone mainstream if she wasn't being, you know, banned by the radio for this era. The song is, first of all, techno, being interesting. She has a little violin moment. Someone said that they thought the violins in Let It Will Be were coming from this. No, they're not. I mean, it's still violins, but it's da 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 da. I've 100% heard that in a non-Madonna song. I'm absolutely positive I've heard that. And no one in the comments could tell me. Maybe someone's used that melody that the violins were in. Maybe it wasn't violins at all. But I don't believe anyone was able to figure it out for me, which is frustrating because I would really like to know. It's definitely not the same ones. There's violins in here for sure. But just because there's violins in one Madonna song doesn't mean they're the same violins in another Madonna song. Maybe they were the same instruments themselves, but it's not the same melody or anything. This song lyrically is about, it's not your time to go. So you gotta wait to die another day. Which I like that better, because at first when I heard the title, I thought it was gonna be more like every single day feels like a death of some sort. And so you just have to keep going and going. I thought this album was gonna be a much more war and political theme than it actually is. And so I like this vibe. It's definitely like a club type remix song where she's like, nope, it's not my time to go. I'm gonna keep going. And I love the analyze this Sigmund Freud line. That's so funny. She's like, I'm gonna kill my ego. Huh? Ego death? What? And closing off my body. I'm gonna make it mine. I'm gonna do what I want to do and not care how it's perceived. When I think of Freud, the main things I think about are the weird mother and father relationships. Obviously, she can't marry her mother, and she's not going to off her father because he's still alive 20 years later, so I don't think that's what it's referring to. And if it's the opposite for women, she did not off her mom, and she's not going to marry her dad. Her dad's 91, and also her dad. And then I also think of the ego, super ego, and id, so I think she's referring to that in a little bit. And then the other thing, which I think is actually very relevant to Madonna, is the iceberg, where you only see some parts of the surface, and then there's parts that only you know about that you don't show, and then there's stuff that you are not really that aware of also. Actually, now that I think about it, I think the top of the iceberg is supposed to be like what you're conscious of, but I think of iceberg also in the sense of what your persona is versus how you see yourself versus how you are at your core that you might not be aware of. So this is a bop. I already want to hear it again. It's an interesting message. There's some experimentation in it, but it is still at the end of the day a good bop. So I like a good experimental bop. It's fun, and I think she did a really great job on it. The fact that it is the 10th song on an 11-song album, if you didn't have streaming, which in 2003 they didn't, you made them wait 9 songs to get to this bop. Girl, that's criminal. Track number 11, last track on this album, Easy Ride. Ooh, feels so classical and almost Disney intro. One last acoustic guitar. I want the good life, but not an easy ride. I want to work for it. I want to know everything. Go round and round just like a circle. Nice percussive addition. See, violence doesn't mean they're in Let It Will Be. Techno beats coming back in. You make it sound like my speaker broke again. Ooh, someone's having fun in GarageBand. If you had this on vinyl, you would think your record player's having a stroke. So that was Easy Ride. And that was honestly easy listening. That's a 5-minute song, and it felt like 3. Honestly, I felt like I was just chilling and going through it. And this song generally seems to be about how she wants to work for it, for her success, and she also wants to know everything, and maybe someday she will. Socrates would like to have a word with you, but he's also not alive right now. Come check back in another time. Anyway, Easy Ride, it was like a vibe. It was doing the acoustic and then got a little glitchy and then got a little like, are my speakers randomly breaking? Sometimes those songs kind of vibe a bit. And so I did appreciate her doing her experimentation as she's been doing throughout this record. Yeah, I don't really know what the full circle and the spinning around and touching the ground and feeling home. I didn't really catch that metaphor all that much. But I guess while she's chaotic, she finds that when she's grounded, she feels home. So whether that's a person doing that, a place doing that, a lifestyle, a group of people, whatever that is, I think that's probably where it's fitting in, and it'll fit also very well with the rest of this album. I think also the working hard for it makes sense within the American dream context and how she's saying, I'm just living out the American dream. And she is specifically saying that she wants to work hard for her success. Now, I'm not here to debate whether Madonna worked hard for success. I don't know Madonna like that. I didn't study her like that. I'm not going to be like, oh, she had tons of connections or she had 0 connections. I don't really know her story, really. There's probably at least one documentary about her at this point, right? So we probably do know the answer to that. But yeah, she's talking about the importance of hard work. And I think it reminds me a bit of Kate Bush's Sat in Your Lap from The Dreaming. Underrated project as heck. But I love that song, Sat in Your Lap, where she's like, some say that knowledge is something that's set up in your lap. And she wants the answers quickly. She doesn't have the energy to work hard for it. And while Madonna doesn't want an easy ride, Kate Bush definitely wanted an easy ride. And if someone's promising me an easy ride and actually can deliver on those promises, I don't really mind, TBH. I want to make the world a better place and actively help the world. But if I have an easy ride to make that happen, as well as make myself feel financially secure and like I'm not going to ever be starving again, I would like that. Maybe that's just me and my upbringing, but Madonna, you're also from the Midwest, so I feel like we have something to relate to on that. I feel like in the Midwest, it's especially preached to, bring yourself up by your bootstraps, because we actually wear boots sometimes there. And we think that if you just work hard, you'll be successful. And the thing is that at this time, this is when we started globalizing more and moving jobs abroad and making it so these unskilled laborers are being paid pennies basically to do the work that we had union bargained ourselves to a higher degree. And so those jobs got lost. Farming, I can talk about farming. I'm from Indiana, and it's a bigger mess than a lot of people realize. And it's also a lot of stress that farmers in this country in particular are under. And I want everyone who watches this video, if you take nothing away from this but this point, which has nothing to do with Madonna really, but please stop blaming farmers for anything in this country. Don't blame them for a single thing, except for if they're like homophobic or racist or something like that. Like, we can do with that. But if you're like, why are they voting for these politicians? Because they're the only politicians that are talking about them. The Democrats don't talk about them. The Democrat is not the party for agricultural laborers in this country. They're really not. And the Republicans are not either. But at least they will do some lip service to appease them into thinking that they are on their side, when they're definitely very much not. We don't have a major party that cares for the group of people who are responsible for getting food on our table every single day. Why is that? Why do we not care about them? Why do we care about finance bros more? Nothing against finance bros, except for everything against finance bros. We should care about how our food comes from. We should compensate them fairly. Same with teachers too. But that's not really about any of this. She's talking about how she wants to work for things. I think the American dream is that you do work for it. It doesn't get handed to you. And so I think it ties up that theme that she's going about, and also this general American life ideal, because that's a very American thing to be like, get your butt out of bed and work and do that. And that's how we're driven. I mean, other countries obviously work and labor and sometimes do more, but I feel like the idea is that the American dream allows you to move upwards more with more hard work, which is in some cases true and in many cases not. And we're also just not given the same safety net that a lot of other countries are, such as a strong social security that definitely will be there when I get to that age. It's not looking great. Universal health care for everyone. Unemployment money that makes sense. Maternity, paternity, parental leave. Where is that? More days off. What the heck? I want some of that. There are ways to be productive in a capitalist society, but there are ways to be happy in that society that don't make you feel like you're gonna off yourself or get offed by someone else just by existing. This country is wild. I'm not always a fan. Generally not. Anyways, I think that was my one political rant, because I really didn't get to talk about it throughout this entire video, because I thought it was about to be for every song. Just for this one, really. So there you go. You got it. With that said, we have finished this album. This is not what I expected it to be at all. I thought it was a very politically charged album. There are 2 songs on it that are political. Easy Ride and American Life. And I get that American Life starts the album. I get that it is the title track of the album. I get that it had a controversial music video. But it does not define the album in the least bit. It honestly only really defines the album in the sonic direction. I really didn't think that the entire album was going to sound like that. To me, it felt like with Alanis Morissette's Havoc and Bright Lights, how she has Woman Down has a similar techno electro pop vibe to it. There's no other song really on that record that sounds like that. This one has a lot of acoustic as well as techno, as well as some hip hop influences. There's some glitching. There is some beats that just come out of nowhere, some micro beats maybe. And then there's a lot of acoustic guitar. It's very strange. It is not something that I would expect a mainstream pop star to do, but she did it. And honestly, I applaud her for having a vision and going through with it. It's not something that I think would have done well in the charts, even without the political themes for it. Completely barring the emotional turmoil that our country was in following 9/11, and then also how we were very patriotic towards wars in other countries that didn't cause 9/11. What was that all about? It was about oil and control. I don't feel like this album would have done well or like stayed on the charts for very long. It does feel like a very out of left field type of release. Like, I've heard many popular singles from Madonna before, like Material Girl, Like a Virgin, Like a Prayer. There are different vibes in those. There's different genres, but techno, acoustic, and hip hop together is not something I expect a mainstream pop star to do. And this feels like a very experimental, very cohesive, but very experimental project from her. And it's very fascinating. I'm very intrigued by this record and its sonic elements, because it is honestly probably one of the most cohesive records I've heard in a long time. And it's from a very popular artist. And it's not cohesive in, oh, all the songs are quiet, or all the songs are loud, or they're all dancey. There's probably plenty of cohesive albums I've heard that are like that. Oh, they all want to make you dance. Confessions on the Dance Floor is a pretty cohesive record, considering that they all make you want to dance. They have themes of love and jumping into new things, and there's a lot going on there that is cohesive. But this is very, very cohesive for what it is, and that's very surprising to me. I don't know how you make so many songs that sound at least decent with techno, acoustic guitar, and hip-hop. I don't know how you do it, but you do it. And like, it's impressive that you did it. I'm very surprised that this was like your mainstream release. This feels like how I recently found out that Mariah Carey did a secret rock project on a different moniker and had it mixed differently so that her vocals were not front and center, because we would be like, okay, that's Mariah Carey's vocals. This feels like something that Madonna might have wrote and then like gave it to someone else, but no, she took it on head on. And while I think that some of the representation of the album being more about the political aspects of it, it's not just that. It's a lot about other things. And I guess a lot of albums that are about reputations and politics and stuff like that have different facades versus what the music actually entails. For example, Reputation has those bombastic songs of like, oh, revenge and look what you made me do, and this is why we can't have nice things. But then you have the majority of the tracks being a love story. It's that bait and switch that makes it interesting, because I guess American Life was probably made and promoted in the way of, look, this is very showy, look at this, look at this. And then you get to the album and it's more acoustic and it's more relaxed to some degree, but there's also some really interesting techno things. So it does a lot, and it makes the listener get more involved than I think they were planning on being. I'm excited to get into this album more. I have no idea how much of it I'm going to really want to replay over and over, because it's a very odd combination of all those facts. And I'm not sure if altogether I like all of them, but there's some really interesting cuts here. Die Another Day is definitely going to be regularly replayed. I know that one for sure, but I don't know about anything else. Like, I don't know yet. I'll have to like check it out, because there's so many interesting choices that headphones are first of all a must. And I have to listen to it. It's definitely not as an easily digestible and accessible record as Confessions on the Dance Floor. Confessions on the Dance Floor was made for everyone to love it. Honestly, that was probably her trying to do her redemption arc after this album coming out, because honestly, if you were just like a mainstream pop girly and just loved every Madonna release and then she released this, I'd be like, what? What was going on? Now, she might have had some wild releases before. I know she has an album literally just called Music, and I think there's a title track for that as well. So it's just a song called Music. So I don't know if she's done some wacky things where like the album was entirely odd and not made for commercial success, but this is not made for commercial success. If it was, 2003 was a weird year. I know I was 3 or 4 when this album came out, so I guess I'm not one to talk, but I haven't heard much of anything from this era that sounds exactly like this. There's some 2000s sounds in here, but it's not everything. But not to sound repetitive, but I think this album is just deeply intriguing. I'd absolutely love to know your thoughts on this. I think this album is the first in a while where I'm like, I really need to see some people comment and tell me what they think of this album, because this is very, very intriguing. With that said, here are some of my favorites, the top tier of the songs I love, the standout song, ones I've been playing over and over again. Songs in the middle I like, I'll add them to my playlist, but they may not be the top of the top, and songs at the bottom are just not really my thing. Doesn't mean it's a bad song, doesn't mean it can't be your favorite song. It just means it's not for me, and that's okay. Madonna was not thinking of 3 or 4-year-old me when she made this album. She was making a statement. If you like this video, please like it, comment down below, check what you react to or do next on my channel. Please subscribe to my channel if you're not already and you'd like to be, and thanks for watching. This is TurtleStormer. Catch you later.
Get out of the dark and get into my heart. You gotta do your part for a brand new start. Don't it just feel right? Looking in my eyes so till we see the light. Dance with me tonight. Think it's pretty.